Thank you, Zahra. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Morning Barakah with this new segment of health and nutrition with myself and Sana. Assalamu alaikum, Sana.
Alaikum salam.
How are you today?
Good, thank you.
Well, I'm looking forward to another delicious recipe as I've been enjoying and indulging, and I need to obviously hold back a little bit, but you know what? I'm really enjoying myself. So what have you got for us today?
So today we're going to make kufta and eggs.
Excellent. I haven't actually had that sort of combination before, so let's just explain that a little bit
Yeah,
more.
so again, it's a lot of the dishes that I make I've learnt through kind of my family traditions, and this is also something we do make in Morocco.
Okay.
And it's something that you can have with bread, or sometimes we have it with chips as well.
Oh, okay. Chips.
so
So homemade chips?
Homemade
or?
chips, yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And sometimes we would put the actual food with the chips in a baguette bread and have a sandwich like that.
Okay.
So there are many ways.
Is it more like a breakfast or a brunch? Maybe
It
brunch.
can be anything. You
Okay.
can have it for breakfast, brunch, lunch, even dinner. So
Wow. Okay. And I know
anytime.
like mincemeat, it's really healthy nutritionally to have, you know, if you want to have meat, but to have it in small pieces.
Yes.
Or like we are here, you know,
Exactly.
in a mincemeat sort of style.
Yes.
Instead of like processed meat, for example. It's a lot healthier in that sense because a lot of us will have processed meat for breakfast, like the sausages and, you know, the polony salami, whatever it may be. So this
Yeah.
is actually quite nice.
Yes.
And another thing about minced beef or lamb, if it's actually 4% less fat, we don't know that when we go to the butchers, but you know, the way in which it's labeled is either premium or extra lean. So
Yeah.
that's something to consider when you're buying your minced meat to make sure that it's the best quality and has less fat. Because a lot of time we might not be using minced meat as a healthy diet, but it can be if you are, you know, aware of what it entails.
Yes.
So, and even using minced meat, not just with lamb, but chicken can be a really
Exactly.
good way of
Yes.
you know, having a good start for and a good choice.
You could substitute that because it will work
Absolutely.
perfectly fine with this as well.
Yeah, and I have tried chicken mince, and it's really, really well.
Yeah.
Tastes really good.
It works the same, really.
Exactly.
So, and also you can tell by the colour of the meat that also. So when you go shopping, sometimes you'll find darker meats, and the lighter and the brighter, the kind of the better quality.
Okay, so less fat then.
Exactly. You can notice that, and obviously you'll be able to
I wasn't
see.
sure about the colour now that you mentioned it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that makes a difference.
It does, yeah. You have to kind of look at all of these little details. But yes, so I have about 1/4 kilo of minced meat here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to marinate it with some onions, garlic, parsley, and tomatoes.
Okay. And garlic is also something that our Prophet, peace be upon him, and his family used to use it for medication,
Yes.
as it has a lot of cures. It actually cures like 70 types of ailments in our bodies, and what are we known for? So again, as much as, you know, we don't realize what we use and what are the benefits of it, it's just to give awareness and
Exactly.
insight that these little things do make a difference, and to have it part of your everyday meals and part of the ingredients in, you know, most of your food can make a huge difference to your health. And we
Yeah.
want to live more healthier by still trying to maintain our culture, especially when it comes to food.
Yes.
And a lot of us think that if we're going to diet, we can't eat anything that we have, especially from our backgrounds and, you know, what we used to, but we can. It's
Exactly.
within balance, it's within, you know, the amount that we use, and also being clever and smart about some of the ingredients that we have.
Yeah. So you, again, with this, you don't need to chop it finely. You can, depending on your taste, but I sometimes grate the onion just because.
Yeah,
for
but it makes
some-
my eyes water a lot more.
it does, but you know, again, if you want to trick your children, it's a great
That's
tip.
true, because actually having onions and, you know, chunks of that is not necessarily everyone's taste.
Yes, and children a lot of the time they pick and they kind of choose what to eat based on what they can see. So if you can kind of trick them in that way, they're getting the same benefits. And even grown-ups, some grown-ups don't really like it as well. So you know.
Yeah, no, of course, it's an individual
Exactly.
taste. And again, you know, in this show, we're making really quick and easy, simple meals because
Exactly.
we are in this world where it's fast moving. You know, some of us, even if we're at home, we have got so much other responsibilities.
Yeah.
So to be able to make something last minute, or even if you're a bit, you know, hungry at night, that you just feel like you've had a main meal, but you
Yeah.
had it early, and you want to rustle something up, but instead of going to the cupboard and having some junk food, you can actually make a healthy, you know, solid, nutritional meal.
Exactly.
Which
yes.
will be more filling, more nutritious, and at the end of the day, you can actually use it for the following day, and it's also very, very quick.
Yes, it will stay fresh if you put it in the fridge. It should be fine. So, like you said, you can just leave it overnight and then warm it up the next day, so it's not a problem.
Are we going to be using the same sort of like spices as we did before?
We will be using very similar spices. So I've just put 2 cloves of garlic in there. Again, I love garlic. I really do.
Yeah.
Most of the foods I make has garlic in it. So it's down to your taste of what you would like.
Of course, yeah.
So right now we have the mint, the onions and the garlic. And what I'm going to put in there is first a teaspoon of paprika.
Again, it's mild paprika.
Yep.
So we don't want it too spicy if you're not used to that.
A teaspoon of salt.
We can use so many different types of ingredients in here as well as the spices, but to keep it as simple sometimes brings out the natural flavors
Exactly,
of the meat and whatever vegetables you're going to add to it.
Yeah, exactly. And also we'll do about half a teaspoon of black pepper.
Do you ever use white pepper? Because I know a lot of the time you've mentioned black pepper. Have you actually used it?
I don't. I will get it now and then, but I don't know. I just like the black pepper because I feel I can see it sometimes when in foods. So it'll make the colour of certain foods.
What about the taste? Do you think that makes a difference?
The taste, to be honest, I don't really find a difference in the taste.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter with the taste.
No, for me, but again, I think it depends on everyone's taste buds. So for you, you might find that you prefer the white pepper.
No, I use black pepper as well, but I'm just considering what the difference may be.
I don't think there is much of a difference apart from kind of the colour. The texture is the same, and the taste is pretty much similar as well.
Okay.
So here is some cumin as well. I use cumin all the time as well.
It is quite popular. I mean, a lot of these cultures that we are now mixing is a lot of Indian, and now it's coming to the Middle East with a lot of spices. Because I'm seeing something really bright yellow there, which is turmeric.
Yes.
And that is really, really powerful spice.
Exactly.
It's for so many things, and it helps with your health. Antioxidants, which will really help sort of, maintain your body's well-being in so many ways that we are not aware. And we can use turmeric powder even in milk when you're ill, add honey to it. It's so soothing. And also, I mean, I know for a fact I've used it on my face with yogurt. It's really good for dark circles. It's really healthy to brighten the skin. Actually even having that as part of your meal keeps you looking younger. So there's a lot of benefits in turmeric.
There is, you're right. And also we're going to be adding the olive oil in there as well. So in here I've put about a tablespoon and a half of olive oil. I just love olive oil. I think it just gives the food an extra taste.
Definitely.
And it just gives me kind of a flashback to Morocco, really.
Of course.
So it's a lovely oil to use. And also what I do need to add in there, which I just forgot, is the parsley and the coriander.
Lovely.
Now, again, like I've said before.
Just depending on your personal taste.
So just move that out the way.
So how do you find these sort of meals? Do you feel that you're sticking to your own, or are you mixing it sometimes with the English foods?
I pretty much mix everything, so I will find new ways to do it. It's like trial and error. So I would use Moroccan spices and use it on European dishes.
Okay, that's interesting.
So for example, if you're making lasagna, I would use...
That's true, it gives a different taste and twist to it. Absolutely.
Even spaghetti bolognese.
Yeah, just the spice alone makes a huge difference to the mincemeat.
Exactly. So you can just experiment. I think for me, I just experiment at home with loads of things, and I always ask people, if I've tasted something that's been got a different spice, I will ask them, what have you used, and just kind of incorporate into your own cooking until you find the balance of what you like, really. So if you see, we've mixed it all up.
Actually, it's quite handy to have the gloves, because sometimes, especially with the yellow, it can actually stain in your hand.
Exactly.
It's not very, very nice afterwards. So that's quite useful, even at home, to be fair.
Yeah. And like I said, the onions here are quite chunky. You can make it smaller.
Or grate it, like you said.
Yeah, if you feel like it's easier to kind of...
Do you use egg to hold it together? Because I know egg kind of holds it together as well sometimes.
I don't with this, but I will crack eggs on top of it afterwards to give it...
Oh, okay.
So I will
that's
use
the different way. Because I know with the Iraqi kebab, we use the eggs, because I make a lot of Iraqi dishes as well,
Yeah.
and and it's sort of like holds it together, and then you put tomato paste in there, grated potatoes.
Yeah.
So you can add whatever you want.
Exactly.
And you can flatten it.
Exactly,
And
yeah.
just do it that way.
So it's up to you really how you want to do it. Right, so what I want to do is I'm just going to quickly dice this up because I'm going to put this at the bottom of the...
So you're actually going to be layering this?
Yes, I will be, yeah.
Okay, so you're not actually doing it the normal way that we would see this sort of traditional way of making mincemeat.
Exactly, yes. It's a bit different, but I find that it is quite tasty this way.
Yeah, no, I love the fact that it's layered because it's something totally different, and it
Yeah.
gives a different, visually it gives something different, and even the taste, having the different flavors come through,
Yes.
than having it just all mixed in one. And how would you cook this?
So there are different ways of cooking it. So you can do it on the frying pan and cook it on the pan and leave it covered for a while until everything has been cooked. Or you can also do it in the oven. So it depends on how you feel like you want to do it. It doesn't matter.
And you're lucky with mincemeat, it doesn't take long, even though it's meat.
Exactly.
It actually cooks really quickly.
Just going to change my gloves.
Are we going to be preparing it in this?
Yes. So
Okay,
if you
sure.
can bring that down.
Of course, I'll help you here.
Thank you.
Do you find this as being one of your favorite meals normally?
It's lovely, yes, when you have kind of friends coming over or even family coming over, it's really nice to make. It's quick and easy, especially when you don't have time if you're
Of course.
working, studying or whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
We need to be practical with what we can actually do at home. We can't be in the kitchen for hours.
Of course.
So it's something...
Using natural healthy ingredients.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring the tomatoes over.
Okay, so you layer the tomatoes first. And because it's wet, you don't actually have to put anything underneath, right? Or do you
No.
put some oil?
No, I won't put oil in this one because this will be oven baked.
Okay.
So it's not essential. The mincemeat already has olive
Yes, it
oil
does
in it.
have,
So it's
yes.
absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to make some room for this. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make meatballs with these.
Okay,
You can
so
do-
it's kind of like a tebsi, Betanjan, you know how they make, the layering of...
Yes.
Okay,
But again, you could do it how you want. You can make it like that,
or flat.
or you can do it like this.
Okay, or round.
Depending on
okay.
how
Oh,
you
like
want
a sausage.
to. Yes,
Okay.
exactly. Depending on how you want to do it. So we can do a mixture of both. It's not a problem.
Okay,
Doesn't matter.
and you just lay that on top.
Yeah. So you just carry on doing that and layering it.
And once you've placed all the meatballs on there,
Yeah.
what happens afterwards?
So after you do this, I'll just put this one there. So after you've done that, what I would do is I would get eggs, and I would crack the eggs on top.
So raw.
Yes, raw.
Okay.
On top of there, and I would leave it in the oven.
Oh, so it bakes kind of like a baked
Yeah.
egg and that. Wow.
Exactly. So I would leave that in the oven. If you want, just to kind of be sure with the meat, fry them on the
Oh,
pan.
you mean because to make sure that the insides are
exactly
cooked as well?
Yeah, and because
then, yeah.
I'm quite thorough with this, I prefer to
course.
do that just in case you don't want to
Yeah.
get kind of,
course.
contaminate the meat or anything. So I would probably suggest that you, for a first time, if you've not done it before, fry them first.
Yes.
Just shallow fry them
Yeah,
slightly
yeah.
until they're brown, and then put them on top and layer
Yeah, I've
it.
never had a dish like this, so it's really interesting.
Yeah, and then once you've done it, obviously we're not going to do it
And
all
how many
here, so-
eggs would you recommend for a dish like this?
So I would recommend, I would do 3 here and 3 here and then 3 there.
Oh, that's quite a bit. So that's
Yeah.
quite healthy and heavy.
Yeah, because of the size of it,
Right.
I think it'd be nice to have
So that's
1 egg
nine.
per
Okay, so
meatball.
then each person has exactly the same
Exactly,
amount.
yeah.
Okay, if you're doing it like that,
And
that's
then
perfect.
when you want to serve it, you can cut
looks,
it
yeah, accordingly.
into nice pieces, and everyone can have their own kufta with the eggs.
And how long do you recommend to put in the oven for and keep it in there for?
If you've pre-cooked the meat, I wouldn't
less.
say long. I would say maybe 20 minutes on 180 degrees.
Right.
And if you want, cover it first. So cover it with some foil and leave it in there, and then take it off and allow the top to brown.
Okay, yes.
And then you can take it off.
Right.
And then once that's done, it's better to serve and eat straight away.
And if the meat's not cooked?
If the meat isn't cooked, then I would suggest you put it back in the oven and leave it
40
for
minutes.
another 10 to 15
Yeah,
minutes.
so altogether 40 minutes.
But
or so.
cover it because we don't want the eggs to burn.
Of course, and it also keeps all the moisture and the things
Exactly,
inside.
yeah.
Okay.
And what you'll find is that you'll get some nice tomato sauce underneath
of
the
course.
kufta.
Yeah.
And so it will be a saucy kind of kufta
Yeah.
with the egg, and it will just complement each other.
Okay, I've never tried this meal before, ever. Never. So I'm
Yeah,
really, really excited.
It's something different. I'm
Definitely.
just going to put that away because we've actually made one.
Okay, perfect for me to try again.
Exactly. Right. So this is one we made earlier.
Oh, wow. So that's the finished meal.
Yeah.
That is so different. Unbelievable. I've never, ever tried anything like this. So this is a first for me.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like I said, this one has the actual meat. I've made it into balls.
Ball, yeah, exactly.
So it's a bit different.
Lovely.
Right, so let me get you so you can try some.
Yeah, fork and a knife, yes. Perfect. It's like a pizza.
It is, yeah. Nice and organised.
I think that's so nice to have these different ingredients together as a main
In my-
meal, and you wouldn't really even think of this together, to be fair. Like, I really haven't had this before. Okay, let's try.
Now, if you can see underneath,
Yeah, you can
there's
see the
tomato
layers.
layer
Oh,
underneath.
wow. Yes,
So
of course. Okay, here we go.
see how you're going to try this.
Okay, I'm going to try this.
Would you like a knife? Let's have a look.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I've got it. I've got it. I'm just trying to get as much as I can in there. Delicious. And I can actually taste the tomato. I can taste the mincemeat, and the egg just nicely rounds it up. So delicious. Thank you so much, Sana. This was
You're
so
welcome.
different. And I hope that everyone that is watching will try this at home. Definitely recommend this.
Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's such a quick and easy way of cooking something and putting it together and having a healthy meal in such a short space of time. Inshallah, we'll be back with yourself. And inshallah, we will see you, the viewers, next time on Morning Barakah, Health and Nutrition. Over to you, Ali and Zahra. Assalamu alaikum.